Because good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Before we kick off our episode this evening, we do want to address something that has transpired with the podcast in the last 72 hours. A former co-host of ours has publicly announced allegations and accusations against one of our own, and all of us as a whole are looking further into the details. So, just so you won't be losing it for the foreseeable future until we come to a final conclusion, it'll just be myself and Mr. John Blaine here on your screens each week on the podcast. So, now that we got that settled out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Good evening, everybody. How are we doing tonight on a live special edition? Special, I know I said special, but it is the Round the Ropes podcast, which means it must be a Tuesday night. We got our first comment coming in from James McGrady, also known as Jumbo Ref, out here on Long Island, saying, hey guys. Hey, James, thank you for catching the show tonight. We definitely appreciate it. Andrew, loyal listener of the show, says hi to all. Andrew, how you doing tonight, buddy? But let me bring in the sexy, beefy boy himself, the... I just had to say that.
It's fine.
Mr. Ryan Peterson, what's going on? How you doing tonight?
Doing good, man. It is hot as hell outside right now, but thank God there's a wonderful invention called air conditioning, and it feels wonderful. Thank God.
It's hot outside? What are you talking about?
Moving on, besides, feeling hotter than a freaking tortilla on the sidewalk, along with a fried egg, I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, folks, if you a lot of us have been dealing with extreme heat. James, appreciate that, man. Definitely share the video.
Oh, absolutely.
Get more people watching, because like I said, folks, we're doing the same thing like we do every time. If you are watching us, you can watch us on multiple platforms now, Ryan. We've actually upgraded.
Ooh.
We have upgraded. And you can now see us on Facebook. We go to both the Around the Ropes page and the Around the Ropes Network page, and you have to go to our YouTube page. Fortunately, folks, we don't have a URL right now because we have not hit the 100 subscribers. So definitely, if you're there, give us a subscribe. Help us get to that 100.
Give us a subscribe, follow, share to your friends and family. That way, we can reach that 100 threshold.
Yeah. But, so we got a lot of stuff to get to tonight.
Yes,
we have a lot to get to. And let's get right into it because Dave Meltzer actually sent out a tweet probably about, an hour ago?
I would say give or take maybe an hour and a half ago.
And that would be that apparently there's been more news coming out on the Vince McMahon situation.
And I actually have said quote right here in front of me, if you don't mind me reading.
Go right ahead.
So, according to Mr. 5 Stars himself, Dave Meltzer, he tweeted, and I quote, WWE's investigations have found another $5 million in payments made that they weren't aware of related to Vince McMahon. Payments to two people, one in 2007 and the other one in 2009. And I just saw another article pop up saying that the total amount of hush money now is almost $20 million.
Yeah. And that's what I heard about 20, like 19.5 million.
Yeah, 20. I was going to be close, but still, that's
I'll put it this way. I think it's safe to say Vince McMahon will probably face some sort of jail time at this point.
I don't know. Here's what I mean. This might sound a little controversial, This is what we do, folks. We talk things that could be controversial.
Mhm.
I feel like if he wasn't acquitted for the steroid trials 30 years ago, what makes you think this will be any different?
Because the SEC is coming after him.
Right, but also the feds went against. And I'm not defending McMahon at all. I'm just saying how the government, handles high-profile cases. 30 years ago, they fucked up.
Yeah, it's very.
I'm
It's
on
very.
my track record. I'm on my track record.
James chimes in here and says, probably house arrest is a possibility, which I could see. I could see that. And Andrew chimes in and says, I think they'll settle it and he'll pay them back. I don't know, because you have to understand something here. You're dealing with the SEC. The SEC isn't too keen on you stealing money from them. And he, yeah. Some more comments chiming in here. Andrew says, at worst, a probation. That would be lucky at this point. And James chimes in here and says, drug and kept a sex secret are two different things. Yeah, James, that's kind of the whole thing with this thing is, if it was just the money aspect, that would be one thing. But you have the money aspect. You have the fact that he essentially, there was the whole the issue with the referee that whatchamacallit? Oh shit, what was her name?
I forgot.
From the 80s.
Oh, the referee.
Yeah, who came out and did all these accusations against him.
Oh, I don't remember. That was so long ago.
Rita somebody. So it's all going to come back and bite him in the ass. It's just how much more and Andrew chimes in here and says, if the Wolf of Wall Street is to get away with, and he can get away with this, Vince McMahon, yes, like Ryan said before, Vince has gotten away with stuff in the past.
By the way, the referee's name is Rita Chatterton.
Yes, and she definitely has made things interesting, and she's made things very interesting, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that everything that's happened to Vince, I have no sympathy for him. I'm sorry. What he ended up doing, and right now, and this kind of transition into what I want to get into, Monday Night Raw. And the difference we've been seeing in the last couple of episodes since Hunter has taken over creative control.
Whatever do you mean?
He came back, since he's been back in power as head of creative. Also, we've seen Dakota Kai come back. Io Shirai has come back. What's his face? Karrion Kross came back last Friday. We talked about that on last show. And we saw an interesting return, or a return, last night.
Can I tell the story how this went into play? Because I was like, what the hell? Oh,
yes. Yes, folks. There was a whole issue where we had seen a car. Hold on, Ryan, since you obviously saw it, why don't you tell everybody? Because I saw bits and pieces. I didn't get a chance to watch it all verbatim.
Well, basically, what happened was there was at one point, I forgot the Irish backstage interviewer's name. I forgot his name.
Kevin Lucky Charms.
I was like Sinead McDonald's. I don't know. The Shamrock Shake. I don't know. Love that shit. So he's in the parking lot trying to get Kevin Owens after he beat down Ezekiel. Kevin Owens is saying, this is the old Kevin Owens coming back and whatnot. But in the background, you see a car that hit one of the pillars of the arena. It's just left abandoned. People are standing around, whose car is this and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then later on in the episode, you're talking about Nikki ASH and Nikki Ash and Doudrop are doing their hype up video because next week they're facing Alexa Bliss and Asuka in the first round of the women's tag team title tournament. And then all of a sudden you see Bayley and the new Bayley buddies come in and doing interacting, but then behind them you see the car that was hit getting towed, like right smack down the middle, and then all of a sudden you see a slew of cops. Like you can see excuse me. You can okay. Sorry, that's just thunder right by me, folks.
Yeah.
So, you see a whole slew of cops flinging like down the hallway, almost running into Alexa Bliss at one point. So, but then all of a sudden you get towards the end of the episode, it's The Miz and AJ Styles going at it in a no DQ match.
Yeah.
No DQ match. AJ Styles won. And then all of a sudden you see all of a sudden you see the cops like arrest the person and whatnot, trying to reach over the barricade. But normally when that happens, they don't really pay attention to that, not even the wrestlers in the ring. But all of a sudden you see the camera facing that way, with AJ Styles looking at it, go like, wait, hold on, what's going on here? You see them pull the mask, the hood up, and it was Dexter Lewis. It was Dexter Lewis. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, not what I expected. And the funny thing is, you notice towards the end of that episode, when all of a sudden, hold on, I just want to take care of it. Okay, there we go. When that happened, and all of a sudden we didn't see anybody like mention it, and they just went off very early off of TV.
Well, I mean, they kind of had to because because they were running out of time.
Yeah, and that's the funny part of the whole thing, is that they did not, but they always used to go early. They used to always run over.
I know, but I guess now the USA Network's being a little stickler right now.
But we saw the image pop up before about what do they do with him. And there's one theory brought up on Facebook that I want to run past you, see what you think about it.
Okay.
Who right now has the Money in the Bank briefcase?
I think Theory still.
Okay. And if you remember in NXT, if you notice how all of a sudden he's going to cash in and everybody's blocking him.
To be honest, no, I don't remember that.
Could bringing in Dexter Loomis be the start of us seeing the Way debut? Indy Hartwell, Candice LeRae, Johnny Wrestling, his family.
See, Candice, I don't think so because it's still, I think she just had the baby, I think.
Yeah.
So it's still relatively new. But Johnny Wrestling, there have been little teasers about that.
Mm-hmm. But we have that. We have a lot of them. But think about it. He brings in the family to help them. Wow. He brings back the what did he? Okay, let me move on from that because there's some comments coming in right now that are throwing me off right now. But I'm moving on. When you look at everything that happened, but could they bring Johnny back and have Johnny and Dexter help Austin cash in?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say probably maybe, but then again, I don't know honestly. With this new, I have a feeling that Austin's not going to be cashing in at all this year, or if he cashes in, it's going to fail.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's what I'm seeing. And unfortunately, hold on. I'm just trying to crap. What the hell's going on here right now? My computer's acting up. Give me a moment. Okay, but you look at everything that's happened, and okay, apparently Ryan just left, so I'll just continue now for a little bit. Yeah, I only see that in the sense that I don't know what just happened here, so we'll just move on. But folks, again, apologize for all the technical issues here. You know, it's been an interesting couple of days to see the least. But as far as with Austin Theory, the reason why I'm saying him possibly going for it is it could be a way to help Theory. Oh, Ryan is back.
I don't know what the hell happened. I didn't hit anything at all.
I don't know. Something's going on with a few things right now, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But you look at everything that's happened, and I just think that'd be the easiest way to do it because then you give Austin his possible win there and make him the biggest heel in the company.
The question is, when are they going to pull the trigger? That's the real question.
I don't know. And that's what I'm curious to see is when would they pull the trigger? Do they pull the trigger at Clash at the Castle? Because one thing we've noticed when it comes to all of them is all these moves that have been happening have happened pretty recent, pretty quickly to say the least. So who's to say this doesn't happen at Clash of the Castle, or even, God forbid, possibly Extreme Rules, which is the October pay-per-view?
Again, it's tough to like really think of that because it's like what the hell's going on right now.
Yeah, and that's what I'm curious to see because to me, there's been a lot of people who have been in talks with about coming back, and we've seen a lot of them come back, and like I said, I'm curious to see what how the whole thing plays out. I'm really curious to see. But overall, though, I mean, what did you think about Monday Night Raw last night?
So, kind of no surprise, I fast forwarded through a bunch of it. I do also want to say though, I think they're still throwing teasers at Dominic finally turning heel.
Yes, I did see that, especially the part where he it looked like something was happening when he confronted Edge.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember that backstage segment, he confronted Edge, and Ray turned around to him and said, "It was an accident. Don't worry about it." Type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
And he turned around. And he goes, "How can you believe him?" You know, I think that's to be honest, I think that's the start of this heel turn.
I think so too.
And I'm not going to put judgment out there. You see my puns there? I'm not going to put judgment out there, and it's Judgment Day we're talking about. I'm not going to put judgment out there for one reason. Hunter's in full control here, creative. Mm-hmm. I'm not breaking news there. But what I'm curious to see is how does he go about this now? That's what I'm curious to see.
Maybe do it at the at Clash of the Castle.
Well, it's only the start of it, so we have to see where it goes from here. Just because it's just going to make things very interesting, to say the least, and it's going to make things interesting because let me ask you this: you've been a wrestling fan for a long time, right?
Yeah, maybe like a year or two.
It's not like you're not in the industry.
Something like that. But anyway,
how long are you giving them? Because I've heard a lot of people on social media say they're giving them 6 months to see how this new regime does.
I would. That's a tough one because if they really want to kind of pull it now, maybe go all the way up to WrestleMania and see what happens.
Well, I'm only saying 6 months because that's going to be everything going up till now. And we have a comment actually chiming in here right now from Andrew. And yeah. He said, I think they'll go back to the 90s storylines where they take their TV with them. I could see that happen.
I can too.
I really could. It's going to be something that would be curious to see. And it's going to be something that it's going to be very interesting to see. I mean, we have the tournament starting. Actually, we had the tournament starting last night on Monday Night Raw. And we also have that on Monday Night Raw. Then following, some of the teams in there, I'm curious to see. My gut is telling me Dakota Kai and Io Sky are going to probably win them because they're the ones who are really.
I think so too.
Because I think they're the ones who they're really pushing them.
Yeah, because they're like the real I would say the power duo that's in WWE right now on the female side.
Well, they're really the two that make the most amount of sense at this point. Yeah, I know they just started being champions, working together recently. But a lot of these other ones are literally just being put together because of this tournament.
Like the NXT wildcard team, it's Zoe Stark and Nikita Lyons.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a wow, like completely out of nowhere.
It'll be nice to start seeing some of these NXT women like Nikita Lyons and like Zoe Starks up on the main roster, but still, I don't like. I got one for you. They have Raquel Rodriguez.
Yeah, Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah.
Yeah, that you want to talk about opposite ends of the spectrum.
Seriously.
Yeah. But guys, keep the comments coming in on Facebook and YouTube. We'll definitely read them. And yeah. But you look at everything that's going on, and it's definitely interesting right now in the WWE, to say the least.
Yeah.
It's definitely interesting right now, to say that much. And I know we were talking about this last week, but what's one thing you're looking forward to with WWE right now?
I'm just curious as to who else they're bringing back.
I know we brought this up on this show plenty of times. You know damn well you're going to get back Sasha and Naomi. It's just a matter of when.
I'm guessing probably. Okay, this is what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably going to have the finals at Clash of the Castle of the tag team title tournament, right?
Yeah.
My guess it's probably going to be Io Sky and Dakota Kai winning it. But then all of a sudden, here comes Naomi and Sasha Banks coming back, saying, "Hey, we never really lost those titles."
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I can definitely see that, to say the least. I think I still have a strong feeling you're going to get back Gargano.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think Gargano's definitely coming back. It's nice to see, and they were talking about this on Busted Open today. It's nice to see a lot of these names from the old NXT Black and Gold brand come back. Andrew chimes in here and says, I hope Bray Wyatt is brought back. Andrew, I could see that. I'm just curious to see if he wants to come back, because that would be my curious point. But Ryan, what are your thoughts on that?
I think Bray Wyatt can come back, but not as the Fiend.
Do you think he comes back as himself?
Come back as the Eater of the World.
Yeah.
Come back as him. Because granted, the Fiend, it was entertaining, but look what they did with him on that.
Yeah, but I think the thing also you bring back the Fiend, you let him go by himself. I mean, we've seen it now. The big thing now that they have taken control over it, taken out is no more scripted promos.
Yeah.
And also, we're also not forgetting about the other part. They also are allowing them to say the word wrestling, not sports entertainment.
Ooh.
And the fact that you're allowed to say wrestling now, first, I remember when I posted on our Facebook page. Again, folks, go to our Facebook page. If you go to Facebook, go to the search bar, type in the ATR Network. That's where you can find all the information regarding our show. And I posted about it, and I shared a couple of groups on Facebook. And I saw a lot of people make the same comment. They go, "You couldn't say that before," and unfortunately, no, you couldn't.
No.
When Vince was running that company, you weren't allowed to say that. And that was what was funny about the whole thing. That now you can. But before I forget, also, folks, I'm my head is in 27 places. We also have a guest tonight. I should have mentioned. And I'm only bringing this up just to kind of, change gears here for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Kevin Nasta. He runs, I think the company's called Damage 365.
Mm-hmm.
But he was also announced today from Titan Championship Wrestling, which is a promotion based in New Jersey, that he'll become the head booker and the head honcho, so to speak, of the Goddess of War, which is their women's division. So you're definitely going to want to tune in for that, because that's going to be a very interesting interview. Get his thoughts on the whole thing about taking over a company. And obviously, Ryan, you've been in Jersey quite a bit.
Of course.
And you've done shows. You've done shows for Titan Championship, right?
Yep. I've been with them. I haven't been able to do so because unfortunately my schedule just couldn't keep up with them. Unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. But what are your thoughts on him becoming the head booker?
I think it's great. I've had no problems with Nasta since I first met him. I think a couple of years ago, I think it was, and very excited for. I think he was also bringing in some of the female talent for Goddesses of War, which is again their female division. So I think. Sorry, I want to bring this up. What happened to the woman? Andrew said, "What happened to the woman that was supposed to be on tonight?" Unfortunately, she contacted us earlier saying that she could not be on the show because something came up, but she will be on in the future. So, so once we get actual confirmation, we'll find out. We'll find out when. But tonight she's not going to be on.
Yeah, and folks, we apologize about that. We apologize about that, folks. But yeah, no. Going back to what you're saying about Titan Championship, do you think? Because according to what I read in the official press release, they're set to bring Goddesses of War back in 2023.
Yeah, because I'm actually trying to pull up the statement right now. Mm-hmm. Excuse me, folks, for 1 second. Trying to pull it up. Here it is. Okay. So the statements. So this was the official statement which happened yesterday, and I quote, if you don't mind, John.
Go right ahead.
Breaking news from the offices of Titan Championship Wrestling and Goddesses of War Wrestling. We are pleased and excited to announce that Kevin S.Nasta of Damage 365 Promotions will now be serving as head writer and booking agent for all Goddesses of War wrestling shows. This includes any and all women's division matches on each Titan Championship Wrestling events. This is incredible news for the brands. Kevin has a long list of accomplishments throughout his booking career, most specifically in recognizing female talent. He has traveled throughout the United States and has flown talent all over the U.S., showcasing them at numerous fan fests and conventions. Kevin is the reason for the success of our 3 prior Goddesses events that happened in 2020. Goddesses of War Wrestling is dedicated to bringing you, the fans, the best independent female wrestlers from around the world. In February of 2023, we will relaunch the Goddesses of War division with our first show since 2020. Believe us when we say this will be a huge event. We will launch the first ever D365 Cup, an all-women's tournament showcasing the best in women's wrestling today. This will take place under the Goddesses of War banner and will feature a 2-hour Goddesses Fan Fest where you, the fans, can meet and greet every superstar on the show. More information will be released soon on this great event. We are super excited and confident that Kevin S.Nasta will bring Goddesses of War Wrestling to all new and higher levels. Fans, get ready to be excited. We are. Thank you, TCW/Goddesses Universe. Wow. You can't hear me? Oh, okay. Sorry, I don't know if it's my microphone not working. Okay. Yeah, so again, I think this is a great thing because Kevin S.Nasta, I've seen him at other shows as well as conventions, and Kevin Nasta always has brought in some of the best female talent.
Okay, good.
Some of the best female talent out there that I have seen, from the likes of JC Storm that he's brought into their current Goddesses of War champion herself, Amanda Fuentes. And the list goes on and on. Oh my God, the list goes on and on with the accomplishments that he has had. So again, a great pickup from Titan, and especially in a Goddesses. I think they actually did a Goddesses show, I believe, back in September. I think it was. It was like maybe like end of the year last year, or maybe the beginning of this year. But it's been a while, and I've actually been to a Goddesses of War event where the main event was, I'm not even kidding, the main event was Holodead versus Christina Marie in a steel cage, and that was amazing because those two really, really went out. So in a little under an hour or so, we're gonna have Kevin Nasta on here as a guest to talk to him more about what he has, what plans he has for the Goddesses of War division. That way we can hear it from the head honcho himself.
Exactly. And folks, I apologize for not being on for the last couple minutes, but all of a sudden my headphones plug came out and it screwed up my whole sound system, so I had to fix that on the fly. But yeah, be curious to see what Kevin has coming up for Goddesses of War in 2023 and going from there, because like I said, I've seen a few of the Titan Championship Wrestling shows, and they always put on great stuff. So I'm curious to see what the mindset of him, what they're able to pull off.
Which actually, speaking of Titan, because we're on a roll right now, folks. We're on a roll. Their next event is on Saturday, September the 17th, and I'm pulling it up right now in Toms River, New Jersey, at the Adrenaline Sports Academy. Mm-hmm. We already have a few announcements already. They actually scheduled a lot already for this one. So, for the TCW Hardcore Championship, and I apologize if I'm taking the reins on this whole thing.
No, go right ahead.
You have the current TCW champion, Merc, taking on Blaze Haram for the Hardcore Championship. Also for the Titan Championship Wrestling Heavyweight Championship, we have the brand new champion himself, Anthony Gangone, taking on a member of a faction called Primal Fear, who has been featured in Ring of Honor, Adrian Soriano. Also speaking of the Goddesses, they have a Goddesses of War showcase match, as the Violent Vixen herself, Adina Steele, takes on Nikki Duke. Also for the Tag Team Championships, we have the team, aka the Demon Saints, which is members Black G's and Joker, taking on the team of Chris Barton and Dominic De Niro, better known as Fight or Die, and a first time ever matchup. And these are always good ones. We have, for the first time ever, two legends of the ring finally meet face to face. On one side of the ring stands a man, part of Titan Championship Wrestling, former TCW Heavyweight Champion himself, and a member of the Demon Saints, Steve Monster Mack, taking on someone who is known for a history of making amazing matches throughout his entire career and still kicks ass to this day, How about WWE legend Savio Vega?
Yeah, that's definitely a good card, especially you get somebody like Savio Vega. Well, I've always said Savio Vega is one of the most underrated wrestlers out there.
I couldn't agree more. And what sucks for me personally is that sometimes I work with Titan, but unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to be at that event because I have an event of my own on the 17th. How ironic! Everyone's running on the 17th. So now it's time for the shameless plugs. On if you're on Long Island and especially around the Melville, New York area, my apologies. There's a little company called Creative Pro Wrestling. We're heading back to All Sports in Melville, which is on Ruland Road. Definitely, we were there back in May for a grand stage, and we sold out over 500 people. Our debut show there, and this one, this might be the same. So, John, do you mind?
Go right ahead.
Alrighty. If I get a little too much, John, just tell me to shut the fuck up. All right.
I'll just have. Never mind. Go ahead.
Yep. Just kidding. So, we're having a couple of first time ever matchups on this event. So first of all, we have Platinum Max Caster, Scissor Me Daddy, taking on Ace Austin from Impact Wrestling. So it's kind of like a Impact versus AEW showcase.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but wait, there's more. This has been brewing up for a while. This has been brewing up for a while right now. Yeah, this has been brewing up for a while now in Creative Pro Wrestling, and at our last event at the Shook Crew Fun Fair 2, these two faced off. Which, by the way, you can catch the match on Impact Wrestling because it was for the Digital Media Championship, and they're going to settle it once and for all as the Impact Digital Media Champion himself, the most professional wrestler Brian Myers, who's not defending his title, by the way, will be taking on the Dominican Destroyer Vargas in a dog collar match.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, and speaking of hardcore, just announced a couple of days ago, we have another surprise guest coming in, and he will be in action.
And who would that be?
As someone who's made a name for themselves, all across the industry, ECW, WWE, TNA Wrestling, and also now Ring of Honor. How does Bully Ray sound?
Very interesting. I was able to meet Bully Ray over at there was a place over in Hicksville, Long Island. I think it was Big Time
Wrestling. Yep.
Big Time Wrestling.
Which, by the way, I just found out that they're coming back to Hicksville on October 15th, and I believe the headliner will be Bret the Hitman Hart.
Unfortunately, this show may have other plans that night.
Fair enough. And I may have other plans that night. I think I have other plans that night as well. But that's not all, folks. On September 17th, there was also a dream matchup that was supposed to happen months ago, but it didn't happen due to unforeseen circumstances, but now it's finally happening as Bear Boulder and Bear Bronson, a.k.a. Bear Country, takes on the reunited team of Eddie Edwards and Davey Richards, the Wolves.
And it's funny, you think of the Wolves, them to me, they are arguably one of the most under. I said this before about Savio Vega. I'll say the same thing about the Wolves. When you look at Impact Wrestling tag team goes, they're one of the most underrated tag teams.
Oh, absolutely! I couldn't agree more. And to be honest, I loved when they were in their feud with the Hardys and Team 3D in that Best of 5 series.
They had a couple right here in the Manhattan Center.
Yep.
New York.
Mm-hmm.
But you think of them. You think of Motor City Machine Guns. I'm trying to think here. Tag teams from Impact.
Oh, America's Most Wanted. Beer Money.
Yep.
British Invasion.
Who was that? I don't remember who that was.
Doug Williams and Magnus.
Oh yeah, I forgot they reunited at NWA.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean it's
Doug Williams,
yes. I'll say this much right now. Impact, and I've said it. I've been guilty of saying this before. Impact Wrestling has always gotten that bad rap, especially under the Dixie Carter days.
Oh, please.
But
Oh, please.
And I've said this before, they've always put on some of the best wrestling.
I could say it firsthand because I've been a part of Impact for a year, so I've seen it firsthand. One of the matches I truly remember, it was at the Melrose Ballroom, I think at the end of 2019, of one of the shows I worked with. And it was Ethan Page against Rich Swann.
Yeah. And, I mean, I still remember when they did the lead up. Was that the year they did Bound for Glory in Queens?
No, that was the year prior. Same building though. And that one, that I remember because that was when first of all they literally had a jungle style match where they basically had like all the boards up.
That was LAX versus who?
The OGs, which was like Homicide, Hernandez, and Kingston.
No, wasn't Kingston with Santana and Ortiz?
Not back then.
Oh,
that was Conan.
Oh yeah. Okay. But I remember that though because I remember that whole because that was the Aries Johnny Impact.
Yeah, let's not go there. Let's move on from that.
Yes,
it happened.
Yes, it wasn't an impactful main event.
The match itself was great. I'm giving it straight up.
Oh, I know. The people know me. They know I'm being sarcastic towards what happened at the end.
But yeah, and right around that time, I had a feeling, in my opinion, because I've seen it firsthand. I think that's when they kind of had their little resurgence.
Yeah, I would say towards the end. The only problem that they have to why they aren't get as much recognition as they should is nobody watches them. Nobody can watch them because they're always on a television channel that nobody gets.
Yeah, I think it's called Access TV. I think it is.
Oh no, I'm talking about back when in the Dixie days.
Oh, it was on Spike TV. Well, first of all, it was on Spike TV. It was on Spike TV /TNN. I had that channel.
I just think what also did it to them was, remember the one year they decided to go up against Monday Night Raw?
Oh, was that when Hogan just came in?
That was Hogan. That was the Hogan Bischoff era.
Yeah, that's what kind of ruined it for them.
Yeah, but I will say this much though: we always talk about Ring of Honor having that being the future of pro wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that roster in the early days of Impact Wrestling.
Oh, dude, there was so much, young talent. You had AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, Samoa Joe, who really honed his craft at Impact Wrestling.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to think who else. Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, Chris Sabin, Alex Shelley, James Storm, Bobby Roode, the whole, and also, I remember even some people from Japan that were on Impact Wrestling that they got on bigger and better in Japan. For example, Sonata.
Wasn't Nakamura also on Impact, if I remember correctly?
He was in there for a cup of coffee.
I love how everybody always says a cup of coffee.
That's the term, man. That it's one of those blink and you miss it type moments. But Sonata, remember when Sonata came in and he joined that faction with, I think it was called the Revolution or something like that. With
James it was him, Storm, and
TJP.
Was Great Muta in that one?
No, but it was against Muta.
Yes.
But I also remember when Muta came in. I'm like, what the hell?
Yep. I remember that. I remember all the shows they had over at the Manhattan Center. I mean, you remember when they were doing the their version of like the Hardcore Styles match, and it was the 4-on-4, and it was EC3
Lethal Lockdown.
Yes.
Oh wait, no.
Not Lethal.
It wasn't Lethal Lockdown. It was. I mean, they did do a Lethal Lockdown. Like I think when they went over to There was one channel, I think it was like Destination America.
Yes. No. What I'm talking about is I'm talking about the one they did at Manhattan Center when it was EC3. The guy who used to be Stinsky, Ezekiel Jackson, and who was the fourth one? I don't remember now. And then on the other side, you had Bully and Devon.
Bully, it was Bully. Oh, now I remember. Hold on, I remember. I'm going back now because I actually just watched this as a joke. So it was like Dixie Carter's like cronies or something, the crony crew. It was
because King Mo was there.
It was EC3.
Yep.
Hold on, EC3, Rhino, and for a cup of coffee, Snitsky and Ezekiel Jackson.
Yeah, I don't remember what their names were in Impact Wrestling.
I don't either. I just go by the two of them. And I remember seeing this one too. On the other side, it was Team 3D, Tommy Dreamer, and Al Snow.
Yeah, I remember the pop Al Snow got when he came back.
Well, that kind of gave it away when everyone was giving themselves mannequin heads.
Yeah, and I still remember the comment when when Al Snow was about to come out and Devon and was it Snitsky were on the outside of the ring, and Al Snow goes to do the jump off the rope. You know what move I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And Taz turns around and goes, "What is?" I remember Taz turns around on there and goes, "What does Al Snow think this is? 1989?"
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, before I forget, we do have some interesting news. Just going back to WWE for 1 second, and then we'll get back to.
I'll let you take care of this because I am. So I'm also writing something up right now from my personal end. So, John, take it away.
It's being reported right now through the Wrestling Observer that Kevin Dunn is expected to remain with WWE for now. There was a lot of speculation that Kevin Dunn, once Vince had to retire and once Johnny Ace got let go, there was a lot of people who thought that Kevin Dunn would be the next one out the door because with him you get the 97 cuts.
Really?
The 97 camera cuts.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. Or basically, if you watch an episode of Monday Night Raw, you'll get massive vertigo or epilepsy or both.
Probably epilepsy. But when you look at everything that happened, so that's what I say. A lot of people expected him to be at the door, but like I said, Wrestling Observer is now reporting that they have spoken to sources within WWE, and they are claiming that we should be not expecting the release of Kevin Dunn anytime soon, because then we all know that there won't be a Beaver clan. I'm sorry, Kevin Dunn, when you see a picture of him, he looks like a freaking beaver.
Dun, 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 dun.
But that also kind of surprises me a little bit because Kevin Dunn is a Vince guy.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to get rid of Kevin, at least get rid of Bruce at this point.
Yeah.
To me, I see what they've done though, as far as they got rid of Vince. Laurinaitis got let go probably about a week or so after. And now it's like Bruce Pritchard and Beaver Boy are just sitting there still part of the company. I'm like, and I've said this before on the show, you want to do a clean sweep. That's how you do a clean sweep, is you get rid of everybody from the old regime.
But I think what they're also doing is they're doing it bit by bit, because if they get rid of people now, they got to scramble and find someone to take their place. I think in my opinion, they want to get rid of someone. If they want to get rid of Bruce and Dunn, they have to make sure they have, someone that's ready to fill that spot.
Yeah, I could see that. And
for example, the whole shit with Vince and Laurinaitis. Vince is gone, and look who took his place because they found someone already.
Well, that was in the works for a while. Let's call a spade here. That was in the works for some time.
And then I'm sorry to cut you off. And then with the whole thing with John Laurinaitis, who came back into his place, Triple H.
Yeah, but then on the flip side, look at who took over for Johnny Ace?
Triple H.
Oh yeah, duh. Hello.
I just said it.
I. It's been a long week.
And it's only Tuesday.
Yeah, but I because everybody keeps talking about this being Triple H. I'm like, Hunter to become CEO. Well, that also made, and they were talking about this on the weekend edition of Busted Open, and I forgot. I think it was Ryan McKinnell made the comment. Oh no, the co-host did. Robin Lundberg made the great comment. He goes, "What's helping Hunter right now is the fact of who the CEO is.
Exactly.
Happens to be his wife.
Oh yeah.
So so when this whole thing happened, she probably turned around to him and said, "Look, you have carte blanche. Do what you have to do to get this company back up and going." And like we've seen, it's slowly. I'm not expecting a complete overhaul right away because then it would disrupt the system completely.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
But on the flip side, you're like we said, you're slowly starting to see. I mean, the fact that now, since Hunter's taken over, the fact I read a report recently, they want to have an interim champion on Monday Night Raw now because USA Network is, and the article said it. USA Network is pissed off at WWE right now because their champion, the tribal chief, or as Drew McIntyre called him, the tribal queef, um, has been on basically on SmackDown since he's held both titles. He was I think on Raw twice, and that was only in the lead up to SummerSlam. Mind you, he won the second title back at Mania, back at this previous Mania 38.
Yeah.
So they've been saying that they want to get a new. And the thing also that I'm liking is they're putting more of an emphasis now on the mid card titles, the IC title, the US titles getting more of a presence now. Where under Vince, it was like, who's the IC champion again? Who's the US champion again? And also, and I know some people have complained about this. They're like, oh, we haven't seen Theory on TV in a couple weeks. We haven't seen, I like the fact we haven't seen certain people on TV because then it gives room for other people who haven't been on TV to get their moment. And I'm just curious to see how the whole thing plays off when Andrew chimes in here and says they just need to take the belt off of him for Raw. That's what I think they're going to do.
I think so.
Yeah, and we haven't. I got a text message from a friend of mine, made another comment. What about Otis?
What about him?
As far as I think they're going to start doing something with him.
I don't know.
Because let's call this what this is right now. That team of Alpha Academy, whatever you want to call them, except for Chad Gable getting over, shh. What else have they done?
Honestly, nothing.
They haven't touched the tag titles in forever. Obviously, we know who holds those, the Usos, but still.
Ooh, this is not good.
What happened?
Okay, so kind of want to switch gears right now, away from WWE. It's still wrestling related, but I want to stay away from. I want to, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go right ahead.
So this past weekend, for those that were not familiar, there was a massive event that happened here in the United States called Wrestle Queerdom. It was the first ever type. John, let me get into this because something just came to my attention and it needs to be said.
Okay.
So it was the first ever. It took place in New Hampshire. Very odd place. Very weird location to do it in the middle of New Hampshire. Honestly, they should have done it. They should have done it at the Ben and Jerry's factory in Vermont. That way you get more foot traffic in. But anyway, so and also free ice cream. Come on, John.
Yeah.
So it was the first ever non-binary pro LGBTQ wrestling event to take place in the United States. 24 hours after the event, a lot of the talent went on social media and said that they were never paid for their travel. And mind you, there was a bunch of talent flown in from around the country. So now, I have here in my possession a statement from the promoter's mother regarding this. And it's a little lengthy. John, do you mind if I read this statement out loud?
Go right ahead.
I don't know what you just threw. I don't know what the hell that was.
Go ahead.
Okay. My name is Lisa, and I am Sally's mom. I have struggled to find the words to express my feelings in the aftermath of Wrestle Queerdom. My heart is broken. So many people were let down in this chaos. I am so sorry that this amazing event was overshadowed by everything that came once the final bell rang. While the event was being planned and promoted online, I was kept in the dark about the costs associated with Wrestle Queerdom. Despite many requests for information, Sally kept things close to the vest and only told me we had sponsors, ticket and pay-per-view sales, and t-shirt sales to cover the cost of most things. The rest of the cost came out of my pocket. In my desire to support my daughter, I took out loans totaling $6,745 to try and cover any shortfalls. These loans were from retirement accounts and non-traditional lenders. I did not know the extent of the promises, hotels, airfare, and travel expenses made to the talent in the lead up to the event. Going into the day of the event, I was led to believe that the talent knew that funds were short and that they were willing to work with Sally while we waited for the remaining funds to come in from various vendors. That's part one. Part two. I didn't know about the extent of the fallout until Aiden VE, I have no idea who that is, but it's what it says here, texted me on the day after the event. I have since found out that Kid Bandit and the community stepped up to make things right. People have come together to cover the rates and travel expenses of the talent, the fees of the map painter, graphic designers, and other workers, and the t-shirts ordered by the fans, all to ensure that everyone involved is made whole. Then Aiden told me that this community was concerned about me too. I have struggled with finding the best way to express my gratitude to everyone for their kindness to me during this absolute mess. This should be about everyone else who was negatively impacted by this event. That I am shown such understanding speaks to the character of the community this event was trying to celebrate, a community that I want to support. To each and every person that was there, talent, workers, fans, I send nothing but love.
And the thing also that I want to bring up with this one, it was also mentioned on Twitter. I don't know if it was the promoter or who was it that turned around and made some sort of comment that because despite the fact that we're not in the COVID world anymore, like we were, say, at this time last year, there are still events where you have to show your vaccination card. You have to show proof that you were vaccinated before you can enter an event.
I think I did say something about that.
And somebody called them out on it because he mentioned something about the vaccination cards, I think the day of the event. And somebody turned around and said, you're going to mention this the day of the event?
Mm-hmm. I did see something about that.
I mean, Ryan, I'm going to say this right now. You're in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
You're one of the best announcers out there, ring announcers out there. And all the companies you've worked with, a la Titan, Bree, you name it. How early do they normally tell people that they have to show the vaccination cards if they still do?
So for most of the companies that I work with, we don't require. First of all, we really don't require vax cards. That's the thing. We really don't require that. We require mask mandates, but we don't go for the vax cards. Because, okay, I will say this. The New York Theater League in New York City, for the longest time, they had the vax rule where, not only did you have to wear a mask, but you have to show proof that you're fully vaxxed. And that's understandable. But when it comes to this, I can understand pushing the mask mandate, but pushing the vax mandate as well. That's kind of a sketchy. Not only that, especially the day of the event. That's like really throwing a massive shade. Because if that was the case, you probably known about this for a long time. Then you should have made a statement sooner than much later, letting the fans who bought tickets. Hell, that should have been a disclaimer when the people bought tickets online, saying before you buy to be a little disclaimer that pops up on the screen saying before you buy the ticket, just so you're aware that Vax cards are required for this event. That way they know what they're getting themselves into the day of.
Yeah, and that's what I found very interesting, that with everything that's going on. And folks, when I say that we're not in the COVID world anymore, I'm not putting down what's been going on between the COVID stuff. Now we have the monkeypox stuff. But what I'm saying is, at this point last year, when it was you had to wear a mask, you were the whole 6 feet rule, all that stuff.
Even 2 years ago, it was worse.
And what I'm just saying is we've slowly gotten out of that. I mean, I still see people where I am, and I work in the retail world. I still see people who come in with, and I'm not kidding you with this, with a mask and gloves on still.
Yeah.
And like I make sure if I'm where I'm at, I usually make sure I have hand sanitizer with me, or I'll make sure I go to the bathroom very frequently just to wash my hands, and that's what it comes down to.
I still carry my mask in my pocket everywhere I go.
But when you have a company like this and you have a big event that they were doing, and you don't mention it before the day of the event, if I had heard that, the first thing I would have said is I demand a refund.
Exactly.
Because to me, that's irresponsible, and that's irresponsibility on the promoter.
Sounds like a legal way for a get-rich-quick scheme.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the people who do that, I think, are lowlifes and are scumbags.
I dealt with a few promoters that pull that tried to pull that actually, and didn't work.
And I'm not even saying promoters, but I want to move on.
Yep.
But I mean, you look at, and folks, we're just hitting the start of hour number 2. You're listening to the Around the Ropes podcast right here on the ATR network. I'm John, and I'm with my co-host Ryan. And folks, like we said before, at the bottom of this hour, we'll be joined by Kevin Nasta, owner of Damage 365, talk about how he started that whole company, and also about the news that we were talking about 20 minutes ago regarding him becoming the new head of talent, basically the head booker and the head writer for for Goddesses of War Titan Championship Wrestling. But folks, we're going to take a quick break here right now, and I'm actually going to throw it over to my co-host, Mr. Peterson, with a quick sports update. Because, folks, we will start. This is going to become a new thing now on this show. Is despite the fact this is a wrestling show, we will give you guys a quick sports update. We'll be right back. Talk more wrestling. Stay tuned right here to the Around the Ropes podcast on the ATR network. We'll be right back right after this. Ryan, take it away.
All righty. Thank God I just got a notification because I literally just pulled it up right now. So, obviously it's Tuesday. So what happens on Tuesdays? Baseball. So, earlier today, we already had a game that concluded already, and that was the Kansas City Royals against the Chicago White Sox, who are trying to vie for that final third wild card spot. And unfortunately, the Royals defeated the White Sox 4-2. Now, currently playing right now, you have two teams also in the American League wild card that's actually, they're going head-to-head right now. It's very close in that division. As the Toronto Blue Jays takes on the Baltimore Orioles. Right now, the Blue Jays, sorry, I can't even talk right now. The Blue Jays are leading the Orioles 5-3 in the top of the 6th. Also another game right now. a battle in the NL East. You have the Philadelphia Phillies taking on the Miami Marlins, and the Phillies are leading 3-1 in the top of the fifth. The Mets right now are leading the Cincinnati Reds 2-0 in the bottom of the third. Right now, the Boston Red Sox are beating the Braves 5-4 in the top of the sixth. Yes, sorry, I'm a Mets fan, folks. I'm sorry. After the 4 out of 5 win we got this weekend, I'm happy about it. So, also we have the Cleveland Guardians taking on the Detroit Tigers. And now they're going into the top of the eighth with the Guardians leading 2-0. And actually, getting back to what I was saying about the White Sox and the Royals, today was a double header. So, Royals won Game 1. Game 2 is currently happening right now. And in the top of the sixth, it's White Sox 2, Royals 1. Also, in National League action, we have the Nationals and the Cubs who are tied at 1 going into the fourth inning. In the Battle of Texas, you have the Texas Rangers taking on the Houston Astros, and the Rangers are leading 4-0 in the top of the fourth. In interleague action, you have the Tampa Bay Rays taking on the Milwaukee Brewers, and they're tied at 2 in the bottom of the third. Right now, the Colorado Rockies are leading the Cardinals 3-0, going into the top of the second right now. And later on today, we have 5 games later on today. We have the San Francisco Giants taking on the San Diego Padres at 9:40, alongside with the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Pittsburgh Pirates at 9:40, and also the Oakland Athletics against the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. That's a long fucking name. And then at 10:10, you have the Minnesota Twins against the LA Dodgers, and the New York Yankees taking on the Seattle Mariners. Now, for Yankee fans out there, I think from what I saw, I'm looking at my notes right now because again, this was thrown on me last minute because last night he was put up. Because last night, perfect. This is what I wanted. After what happened last night, Matt Carpenter just got placed on the 10-day injured list with a left foot fracture, and because of that, they recalled Miguel Andujar from Scranton to take his place. And currently, right now, the Yankees injured list is not looking good right now because you have Michael King, who's out with an elbow. He's out for the rest of the year. Luis Severino with a lat injury. Giancarlo Stanton with an Achilles. Matt Carpenter now with the foot. Chad Green, Lewis Gill, both have TJs. I keep forgetting the name of that injury, but they're out for the rest of the year. Zach Britton also has TJ, but he's not out for the rest of the year. I think he's coming back soon. Harrison Bader with a foot injury. Miguel Castro and Steven Ridings, both with shoulder injuries. That is not good right now. And then also in NFL news, last night the Baltimore Ravens re-signed Justin Tucker, their kicker, for a 4-year extension, I think valued at $24 million, I believe. So that's gonna be a lot. That's gonna be, that's a great pickup for them because Tucker is one hell of a kicker. He's phenomenal, and he's helped the Ravens get to very dire situations, especially when it comes to playoff time. Also, in hockey news, because yes, we're talking about hockey, folks. The New York Rangers actually announced their first captain since 2018, which back then it was McDonough. McDonough, I keep forgetting. My apologies, folks. I'm not.
You mean McDonald's?
No, it's McDonough, I think. But anyway, it's Trouba. Trouba is the new Rangers captain.
Look at us talking hockey.
Jacob Trouba. That's it. Let's see what else is going on in the. Okay, as of 4 hours ago, Martin Necas and the Carolina Hurricanes have agreed to a 2-year contract. Bergeron. Oh, this is a new one. As of earlier today, I think Bergeron signed a 1-year contract with Boston for $2.5 million.
That's a good pickup for them.
That is a very good pickup. Let's see. We talked hockey. We talked NFL. Let me see if there's any more NFL news.
Well,
Again,
You should also mention about the tennis legend who announced her retirement.
I'm getting to that. I'm saving that for last. Ooh, here's a little bit of breaking news. Ex-NFL running back Marshawn Lynch arrested on suspicion of DUI.
Yep.
Cleveland Browns fear torn Achilles for Jakeem Grant. And also the NFL owners approved the sale of the Denver Broncos to the Walter Penner family, which is led by Walmart heir Rob Walton. And by the way, that sale, folks, was for a massive record $4.65 billion.
That's with the B, folks.
That's the B. Exactly. And let's see, we got NFL. Let's check out the other sport. Why not? There's 4 major sports. I don't want to leave the last one out. Okay. For those that have been living under a rock for the last week or so, you notice that a certain athlete in the NBA named Kevin Durant was pretty much given the Nets governor of the Nets, a massive ultimatum. Back on June 30th, he requested to get traded off the Nets because, well, he thinks he's the greatest. Well, if that's the case, then why didn't he stay in Golden State? So there's 2 things about that. Here's the ultimatum: either telling him to trade him or fire Steve Nash and Sean Marks. That's a pretty big ultimatum in my end. And now there's a possible rumor that if the trades were true, one team is possibly looking at him right now, and it's a team up in the New England area called the Boston Celtics.
Boo Boston.
Let's see if there's anything else going on in the wonderful world of this. Oh yes, for those tennis fans out there, yesterday, a legendary icon in the tennis world has announced her retirement, and it's someone that we've all, a bunch of us have grown up and watched over the years. I'm sorry, but I want to make sure I get the right. Oh, sorry, my apologies. Back to the NBA, and then I'll get back into this. I'll get back into this last one. The NBA also made a statement that despite everything going on in the world, with everyone, the mandates still being a little bit lenient, NBA players must be vaxxed in order to play in Canada. And from what I saw, if any of the I'm going to pull up the article right now. Again, folks, this is what the sports update will be about on this network. Anything that's been happening in the week of sports will be somewhat said on here in a little shortened version. Let's see. La. Okay. Apparently from this article, NBA players must be vaccinated or have medical clearance to play in Canada, because apparently Canada is going backwards on the whole mandates and whatnot. And also, if they and the memo states that should players be ineligible to play games in Canada, teams must list them as quote unquote out health and safety protocols, and they will lose their pay for any games missed due to not being vaccinated. That's a pretty big deal right there, too. And then, getting back to tennis. Someone that a lot of us, pretty much 95% of us have watched growing up, and that is the legend herself, Serena Williams. She officially announced her retirement from yesterday on her own terms and also in her words. She's been performing on the circuit for almost a quarter of a century, and it's insane because I remember watching her and her sister kill it. The U.S. Open, Wimbledon, the French Open, and the the 4 major opens. and just seeing them, retire, seeing her retire, it's like part of my childhood is gone. As far as I know, then this has been the weekly sports update here on the ATR network, where we cover everything from professional boxing, MMA, and more being actual sports as well. So, John, let's get back to our show, huh?
Yes, again, you did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Hey, you spoke a lot, and it was very good. A couple things about what you spoke about, as far as the Bruins picking up what's his face, Patrick Bergeron. I mean, he's one of these guys that I feel like he's to me is like a Yarba Yaga. He's gonna keep playing until he can't walk anymore. Bergeron is one of these guys. I remember when he up in Boston, I'll never forget this, when it was him and Zdeno Chara up there. And these guys were like, basically, I call them buildings with legs. Obviously, now we know Zdeno Chara is with my team, the Islanders. So,
yes,
we have certain things with that. And yeah, like I said, it was a good update. All I'm going to say is F Boston. Just kidding. But want to get to some other things before our guest Kevin Nasta joins us in about, I would say, 15 minutes or so. And you notice how there's been a lot of talk coming out, Ryan, how a lot of people want to. Okay, you were informed it was his
19th season.
Wow. I feel old right now.
Dude, what do you think I just said about Serena Williams?
I remember, okay, I'll tell you this one. I remember when it was him, Zdeno Chara, and the goalie, Tuukka Rask. And that Boston team was deadly back then.
Yeah, so I guess maybe they're trying to rebuild it for one last run, maybe with Bergeron, maybe?
Yes, folks, we will talk hockey on this network because hockey actually matters.
And also, hockey's a little bit better. Just saying.
Well, yeah, no, moving on.
I'm being straightforward. I've always loved hockey. Always have, always will.
Let's get back to what people are wanted to hear us talk about.
What's that?
And that's men in tights fighting each other for a belt.
Oh, damn. I did mention this earlier about Dominic Mysterio. There was another rendition of Dominic and Rhea Ripley's Secret Tickle Time.
Yes, and
this one was a little more hard, this one was a little more intense.
Do you think realistically that this is set up for the eventual heel turn?
Yes. Oh, yes.
And do you think it's obviously the way they're positioning it, as we saw on Monday Night Raw, it's going to be Dominic turning on Ray?
I think so.
And I'll be honest, at this point, I can see this being Ray's last major feud.
I believe so too.
And I could see the whole thing playing off. Not saying I would see it happening now at Clash of the Castle or Survivor Series, but what about Mania next year? When you see Dominic going up against Ray, and if Dominic wins, Ray has to retire and give him the mask.
Oh, that's oof. If that's the case, then they should make it a mask versus mullet match.
Well, I would say mask versus hair match.
No, I said mullet because I think the freaking mullet now.
Oh yeah. But I'm saying that should be the stipulation at Mania.
What I think is actually kind of odd is that they were talking about Rey Mysterio's 20th year in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
But wasn't there a period he was gone for like 4 years?
Yeah, he was like on the Indies. He was when Lucha Underground was around.
Yeah. But they were still acting like he was a part of WWE still at the point. So I'm like,
well, you have to realize when you look at WWE, there's no other wrestling promotion out there than WWE.
True.
Think about it. How many times? Okay, I'll give you a great example. Look at somebody like Cody. When they turned around and Cody came back and they said, "Oh, he was gone for 6 years, working on himself."
I mean, they're not wrong on that one. He was working on himself, but he became a better wrestler in this company.
Yeah, but like I said, AEW doesn't recognize him as that. But he somebody made a great point here. I got a text message. Rey Mysterio has lost his mask before. Remember back in WCW?
Yeah, that was a weird time too.
But what I'm saying is, have that be the stipulation going into Mania, and have Dominic. You want to get a lot of heat on Dominic. Have Dominic turn around and go, "Look, you may be a legend in this industry, but the key word is you were. Your time is up, old man. Get to the retirement home."
And they do it in Los Angeles, in California.
Oh, how much? Oh, that would be so much heat on freaking Dominic. It would be scary. But let's be honest. I'm curious to see Dominic on his own. We've always sitting here and said that Dominic is not good. And yeah, the way they're positioning him right now, he is the Wish version of Hook. Young, great talent, has a lot of potential, but can't.
And young too.
Yeah, but I'm curious to see, now that you have Hunter in charge, and if it seems that the route they're going was with Dominic Jordan and Judgment Day, I'm very curious to see if we see a total change in Dominic working with Finn over working with Dad. Because like I said, Dominic, and I could easily see this storyline being played out. I can see one of two storylines being played out. Either A, do a hair versus mask match, or B, I could see a possible storyline of Dominic wanting to get out of Ray's shadows. Because think about it. And I'm not even talking about before Dominic was wrestling. Now, go back to the infamous storyline that Eddie and Ray had. What happened?
Non-wrestling related, but I forgot a couple of quick things. And one of them is actually a little bit of breaking news right now. Boston Red Sox just signed Jerry Familia to a minor league deal.
Okay.
And also, I completely forgot something historic is happening this week. In a couple of days. The MLB Field of Dreams game.
Isn't that tomorrow? Or not tomorrow, Thursday?
Yeah, in a couple of days. As the Chicago Cubs take on the Cincinnati Reds at Field of Dreams in Iowa. Where, if you remember last year's game, it was the New York Yankees against the Chicago White Sox. And you saw how that ended. You saw how that game ended. Could we be seeing more fireworks this year? Tune in on Thursday to find out. Not on this platform. No, on the game itself.
Yeah. But you look at, going back to the whole wrestling thing.
Sorry, just wanted to point that out, folks.
Oh, no, but you're good. You're good. I just want to try to get everything else in before Kevin joins us in about 7 minutes from now. But you look at Dominic, and he's been in Ray's shadows, even back when they were doing that whole rivalry with Ray and Eddie. When there was whole, Eddie's the real father, not Ray. So Dominic's always been in Ray's shadows. And being that, Dominic has been now up on the main roster now for, I think it's 2 years now.
Yeah.
He debuted during the pandemic.
Yeah, he debuted SummerSlam.
2 years ago. He took on Seth, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I could see him turn around and go, you know what? I'm tired of being in your shadows. I'm tired of being looked at as I'm the son of Rey Mysterio, and to be on his own. Despite the fact that it's the same thing like with Charlotte. Despite the fact Charlotte's making her own career, her own path, everybody knows her as Rick's daughter.
Yeah. And actually, you were talking about, when to do the heel turn and whatnot. I received a text of their opinion on when that can possibly happen.
And that would be?
How about either Dom turning on Ray at Extreme Rules in October in Philly, or at Survivor Series in Boston?
That's good. And the funny thing is, do you know Ray has never been a heel?
kind of was.
I'll put it this way, he was never on the internal roster as a heel.
No. I'm saying, like, I think in WCW when he was part of that weird, like.
No,
like,
WWE. I'm talking WWE.
Oh, WWE. No, he's never. No, he's never been. I think really, he's been heel before. I know that.
But I wonder if they can turn around and swerve everybody and have Ray turn on Dominic.
I don't know. Excuse me for a second, folks. I need to make this business call. John, continue your thoughts, please.
Yeah, absolutely. But you look at what's been going on, and, as Ryan's taking care of what he's taking care of right now, we're just waiting right now for our guest to be here. And it's definitely, I mean, folks, like I said, I hope you're enjoying tonight's show. I know the show got a little interesting in the beginning, but now I feel like we've gotten better. Like I said, we'll be joined by Kevin Nasta in about 5 minutes or so. Talk about his production, his company that he runs called Damage 365, plus the news that came out regarding him working with Titan Championship Wrestling. So stay tuned, folks, for that. We'll definitely have a lot of stuff for that. But, folks, I want to get into some more stuff that happened last night, and I want to look at mainly that main event of Monday Night Raw, where we saw Bobby Lashley take on Tommaso Ciampa for the U.S. title. Like we mentioned earlier in the show, Ciampa, not even that, the fact that they're pushing the U.S. title right now, it's a good thing, because we were saying this before. When Vince was in charge of that company, they very rarely, if they ever, pushed for those mid-card titles. Yet, on the flip side, now they're actually pushing for the U.S. titles. And I'll be honest at this point, I don't think Bobby needs the U.S. Welcome back, Ryan.
Thank you.
What I was just talking about was with the main event last night, with Lashley taking on Ciampa.
That wasn't the main event.
No, main event was Styles and Miz.
That was a Miz, no DQ.
Okay. The match before that. The big match of the night that they were promoting. Let me put it that way.
Okay. Relax. Christ compels you.
How can he compel me? I'm Jewish.
The power of pastrami compels you. I don't know.
The power of the Knish compels you. But do you think Lashley at this point needs the U.S. title?
Do I see what?
Do you think Lashley at this point in his career needs the U.S. title?
No.
Because, and I'm only asking that for one reason. I would have loved had they put the belt on Ciampa last night.
I was kind of hoping for that too.
And the only reason I'm saying that, we have not seen a title change on regular TV in some time.
No.
It feels like anytime there's a title change, it's always on a pay-per-view. Well, most of the time it's on a pay-per-view. I think the last time, I don't even remember the last time we saw a title change on TV. Oh, yeah. What am I kidding? Didn't, what's his face, Ricochet take on Gunther?
Oh, yeah. Gunther. But no, he never,
it was for the IC title.
Sami Zayn.
For the IC title?
Sami Zayn was the Intercontinental Champion. This happened before Mania.
No. It was Ricochet.
No. I'm saying it was Sami Zayn versus Ricochet.
Yeah.
Sami Zayn was the IC champion. This was around the time when they were building up Sammy versus Johnny Knoxville at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And that's when Ricochet won the title because Knoxville came out and distracted him.
Yeah, but then I'm saying when we saw Ricochet, because Ricochet won the title then from Sammy, and then I think it was like the third or fourth week that Gunther was up on the main roster, all of a sudden he challenged Ricochet for the belt.
Yes.
And I think they're still scraping Ricochet off the ring as we speak.
I think so too. But it's okay. We're seeing Gunther's next challenger for the IC title. I think it's gonna be a good one too. Nakamura.
And as we found out, it's the first time those two are going to have any sort of interaction.
You know, and it's funny. You mentioned, should Bobby Lashley, be IC, be U.S. champion? No, but I would like to see him just one time. I wanted to see him somehow go to SmackDown and face Gunta for the IC title, and then possibly win the IC title and then call it quit.
Folks, we're going to make a quick transition now talking about champion, and we're going to bring on somebody who kind of made some big news today amongst the independent scene here in the Northeast. And you have seen this guy as he is the head honcho of Damage 365, and now he is the head booker and commentator and the head writer now for Goddess of War in New Jersey, and that's Kevin Nasta. Kevin, how you doing tonight?
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
What's going on, Kevin? How are you, man?
Goodbye.
Let's get right into it with the news. Let's get with the news that happened today.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you knew about it way beforehand, before the news broke. What was your initial reaction when it broke?
You talking about them naming me the writer?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something that we've been talking about for a while. And when you run a company, you kind of get caught up in the show as a whole. So when you're trying to book men's matches and then you got women's matches, sometimes things kind of get lost or pushed to the side, and it's at no fault to Charlie or Billy, but when you got say 8 to 9 matches and 7 of them are men's matches, the female matches kind of get shoved to the side, or kind of let the as they say, let the loonies run the asylum. So they just kind of just do whatever it is they do. So I've been working with them since the day they started, and they just, we're talking back and forth about, the possibility. And I just said, hey, how would you guys be, idea-wise, just me writing for the women's division? And without delay, they were like, absolutely. So, I was caught off guard because I was expecting like, oh, what do you want to do? And yada, yada, yada. But they know what I'm capable of. They know that I've been in the wrestling industry for 10 years now with Damage 365 Promotions. I've brought talent on board that, they weren't household names yet, and now they're all on national television, some of them holding world titles. And, I have the knack to see talent before they sign on big somewhere. And that's kind of what we want to do. We're trying to change the same old look of women's wrestling, where every company just grabs as much local talent as they can. They bring in maybe one significant name once a year on a show, and they tell no stories. There's just no entertainment value. And, and unfortunately, a lot of these women wrestle in front of 35 fans, and it's at no fault to them. But women's wrestling, and I'm talking about like the actual wrestling aspect of the business, is a hard sell. But if you put a female talent at a fan fest or a convention, bam, now you got 300 fans lining up for the talent. There's got to be something in the middle that explain, like, all right, why do they show up for fan fest but they don't show up to watch them wrestle? I mean, they're fans of them because of the wrestling, so why won't they come watch them wrestle? They're like, I don't get it. So we're going to combine the two. We're going to offer a 2-hour fan fest before shows where they can meet and greet all the female talent, and then stay for an incredible show that's going to take place. We're going to tell some stories. We're going to have storylines continue from show to show to show, not just a one and done, and you never heard from the person again. And I have great relationships with a lot of other local independent wrestling companies up and down the East Coast, where they could go somewhere else and we can continue that storyline that we started with us, or take a storyline that was there and bring it to us. So there's just a lot of opportunities. And my biggest, I say, obstacle is, how do we get people in the building? I think the Fan Fest helps. And I also think community outreach helps. You have to reach out to the community where you're running the show. You can't just slap a poster on a deli window and call it a day. You have to reach out to local schools, recreation centers, YMCAs, JCCs, if they got sports recreation places. even like local churches and stuff like that. Reach out to everybody. The customer that you don't get is probably because you didn't go the extra mile. So even if you go to a deli and you slap up a poster and you get 5 customers, you're like, all right, that's successful. Now, if I go into a JCC or YMCA and I slap up a poster and I drop some cards at the counter and I sit down with the general manager of the building and explain, what we're trying to do, now that word of mouth from that general manager is he's going to tell all the people that come in at the YMCA. He's going to tell all his employees, maybe we can offer perks, where, general manager, want to come to the show for free, sell me 10, 15 tickets. You can, you can come with your wife to the show, if whatever it is, the community outreach has to be done. And it's something I think that's lacking in pro wrestling. I think people just rely on their name and they rely on their reputation. And when the fans don't show up, they kind of like blame the fans. And it's not the fans' fault, because if the fans don't know, they're not coming.
You had mentioned before that you have worked with several women right now who are on major promotions, who are holding world titles. Can you just tell us some of the names of who you've worked with?
Sure, absolutely. I started this business in 2012. Originally as a podcast, and we started going to shows representing the podcast, and then we started bringing talent in to kind of legitimize our brand. You sit at a table, you put your brand up on the table, now you have a wrestler sitting there wearing your brand, representing your brand. Now you become a little bit more relevant. Then we started, basically just focusing on talent. And since 2014, when we've been 100% focused on talent, we've worked with the likes of, and I'm before anybody else was booking them for anything. Deonna Purrazzo, we booked back in 2015. Nyla Rose, we brought to big event in 2015. Thunder Rosa, the AEW World's Women's Champion, we brought her to the East Coast for the first time, and her career is absolutely taken off. Arguably the best superstar on the planet Earth right now. Camille Brickhouse, the NWA World's Women's Champion, we booked her back in 2017 when we were doing WrestleCon, and she was still wrestling under the name Camilla Kane. We've brought in Aja Pereira, who now is a referee for WWE. Kennedy Brink, who is Jessica Carr, another WWE referee. Trying to think of a couple of other people at the top of my Tasha Steeles, who is a former Impact Knockouts champion. A New Jersey girl that we were booking for indie shows way back when. There's a couple more, but I think I kind of made my point there. But I mean, look, we bring in talent because we think that they'll have a good time at shows. It'll help them network. It'll help them meet other vendors, other promoters, meet the different fan base from what they're used to in their area. Meet the show promoters, get some connections, get more bookings. That's the main focus. Anybody can book Lita, anybody can book Kevin Nash, but when you turn around and you bring the Twisted Sisters, Thunder Rosa and Holodead to a show, and no one knows who they are, but yet, boom, here comes all the fans buying T-shirts, buying gimmick, buying tons of stuff off their table. They're going home. Guess what? They're looking up the YouTube videos. They're searching social media. They want to learn more about the Twisted Sisters. And then the Twisted Sisters went on to have, a great career as a duo. And even still to this day, we know what Thunder Rosa's done. Holodead is the head booker for Mission Pro Wrestling in Texas, the all-female division. So, it's great. Oh, I got another one for you, which I just popped in my head. 2016, we brought her in at the age of 17 years old. A really buff girl based out of Texas, Jordan Grace. We brought her to Legends of the Ring in 2016. Nobody knew who she was. I think she did pretty well for herself.
I would think so.
I think so too. But Kevin, we were on earlier in the show. We were talking about the whole statement with everything from what management giving you massive praises, which I do as well, because you and I have interacted on numerous occasions, especially when I was at Titan. And one of the things I said was, definitely a great addition because like you said, about female talent. And I've actually been to like one or two goddesses show, but the one match that stood out for me, you actually mentioned one of the names, Holiday. It was Holiday against Christina Marie.
Steel cage match.
Cage match, exactly. Yep. I still think of that to this day, and it's been 2 years.
Yep, I booked all their goddess shows in 2020, even through the whole COVID, I'm not going to say pandemic. It was rough, outdoor shows. It was 1,000 degrees outside. Girls are trying to sign gimmick.
In the middle of nowhere, Ocean Gate too.
Yeah.
Oh,
and these girls are trying to sign gimmick, and their pictures are folding up, curling up. The markers are bubbling up on the page from the humidity. I mean, it was just brutal. But we did what we had to do, and we proved to the female talent then that we were going to do whatever it took to keep wrestling going, keep them safe, keep the staff safe, keep the fans safe. I mean, it was an interesting scenario. People sitting in chairs around the ring, and then there was a row of cars parked behind them watching. I mean, it was like a drive-in movie, but it was wrestling. It was one of the most weirdest things I think I've ever experienced before. And I live in a beach town, bro. We watch movies at the waterfront all the time, but this was, this is wrestling. It's live. It's not on a screen, and you're sitting in your car watching it. It was just a real surreal experience. But the girls knew then that we were serious about this. And, now going forward in 2023, we want to make sure that not only do they know we're serious, that they know that we're serious about taking goddesses to a new level.
Now, obviously, you're going to be running the Goddess of Wars, and I'm assuming there's going to be some women's matches on the regular Titan cards, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct. So, whatever matches that are going to be on the regular Titan show, I will be writing for, and pretty much assisting on the booking for, because most of the Titan shows, if there's female matches, it's going to be a student showcase match, which would consist of Becca Wiley versus someone else, and then a championship match. So whoever the champion is against whoever's coming in to face the champion, which in this case, the champion being Amanda Fuentes. And, the upcoming match in September, she'll be taking on former champ Vicious Vicky.
And actually, we were going through the whole card on Titan because we're on a roll here. We were just letting it go. And I also mentioned, and I saw that there was another Goddess's spotlight match as the Violent Vixen Adina Steele takes on Nikki Duke again.
Yes, absolutely. And I pretty much, if I'm correct, I think she's wrestling twice, or had that match. She's going to do that match twice.
Yep.
We're going to make sure that the story is told at our show. We're not, really concerned about that other program. We're not going to give them their 5 seconds of fame, and we're going to make sure that Adina and Nikki put on a great show, and that when the smoke clears at the end of the day, both women are going to be like, this was great, we want to come back. And look, I've compiled a list in the last 48 hours of 87 female talents that I am interested to bring in. Obviously, February, when we launched the D365 tournament, the cup, we can't bring in all of them, but we're going to have a great show. We're going to feature 4, 8, 12, 16 female talents plus a championship match. So they're going to be 4 fatal 4-way matches that will narrow it down to the semifinals, which will be 2 individual matches. And then that will get narrowed down to the final 2, which those 2, whoever wins, will get an automatic title shot for the winner of the championship match on that same card, which obviously will be on another show. That's not all the championship matches. Yeah. The girls are going to wrestle 3 matches.
You don't want to spread all the cards on the one show?
No. Yeah, so that's also going to be the show where we're going to launch the 2-hour pre-show fan fest, where the fans get to come and meet the 18 women performers that are going to be on that show. And as I put out today, we're dedicated to making this a women's division, not just a women's division. It's gonna be a real women's division. We're welcoming in female referees to work these matches. We're looking for female podcasters to come and give us our social media coverage. A all women's commentating team. Also, we already have 2 females that do the photography, and we also want to any female graphic designer that wants to have their work showcased. We will use all their graphics for the show, and we're trying to keep it where it is an all women show from top to bottom, and we're going to make sure that all the female talent is included. They are included in the decision making. Their input on the storylines will be taken. It's not a dictatorship here.
Mhm.
You know, we're all about making everybody happy, but we also compromise. And I'm just looking forward to it because I've sampled this in the past, and we didn't have success for where we were running, how the marketing was handled, and but the female talent was all booked through me. They all trust me. They know what I'm about. They've seen my history, my past history of bringing in people, and I have a great reputation throughout the wrestling industry when it comes from the talent, and that's all that matters to me is that the talent knows, the talent respects me. I don't care what other vendors think. I don't care what other promoters think. I'm about customer service, and I'm about making sure that at the end of the day, the talent was happy. They felt respected. They were taken care of. All promises were met, and the fans and the customers were happy.
Well, like you said, reputation, because nobody's better than Kevin S.Nasta.
I'm not gonna say that. No, I mean, look,
it's cheesy. I know.
Look, I was gonna post something earlier, but I just didn't really feel like dealing with the flack of people bitching and whining about my post, because you know how social media is. You put up a post and everybody takes it personally, even though it probably has nothing to do with any of them. Mm-hmm. But look, the days, as I said, the 90s mentality of women's wrestling booking is done. This is a whole new era, whole new day. We're elevating this. We're going all in on this, and the attitude and the cop out. Well, I have 20 years experience. I know what I'm talking. Don't care. All out the window. The 90s mentality is gone. The women's wrestling needs to be pushed to the forefront.
We're on right now with Kevin Nasta here on the On the Ropes podcast. Kevin, I know you had said before, that you're looking for female podcasters to do the social media side.
Yeah.
I'm offering now. I know we're not females, but I'm offering to you now that if you need any promotional stuff, we will help promote.
Oh no, we want everybody to look. It's independent wrestling. We always have that the cop out, as I call it. Support indie wrestling. No, support good indie wrestling, because there's some crap out there that I wouldn't trust my dog to go watch. I mean, so it's just bad. Like I said, no names are going to be dropped because I'm not giving them their 5 minutes of fame. But
and I know who you're talking about too.
It's more than one. Trust me. I mean, there's some. If anybody who used to listen to my podcast, we used to call them out on a weekly basis, and I'm talking about up and down the East Coast to the Midwest to the West Coast, Deep South, you name it. If you stiff talent, or you ran a shit show, or you stole from a charity or a fundraiser, we were putting you on full exposure blast. We did not care. We'd even call you up on the phone and try to get you on the phone so you can incriminate yourself. Most times, of course, they hung up, but it was still humorous. But we pulled no punches. So that's why I'm saying that the talent knows that I'm no joke when it comes to taking care of them and keeping my promises, because you can't do stuff like that and then turn around and be a piece of shit, because you're not going to survive in this business. But yeah, I mean, I ask for anybody and everybody who, podcasting or has a very heavy social media influence, support good independent wrestling, and that includes Titan Championship Wrestling and the women's division, Goddesses of War.
And with us, because we started this new network, we will definitely promote you guys out there big time. Because right now we're actually working with 2 other promotions in the Jersey area. We're working with Bree Combination Wrestling,
Okay, former New York guys,
and Pro Wrestling Magic.
Love Steve Off. I've been working with Steve Off from the back in the days when he wrestled for JCW and UWA Elite. And I used to cover all those guys: JCW, UWA Elite, Bree Combination Wrestling. I have not been to a show, but I know a lot of talent that's on that show. And like I said, former New York guys. It's hard to run in New York. Seems like everybody runs in Ridgefield Park, New Jersey. Every weekend is some sort of wrestling going on.
My God,
it's like the Greek Mecca of wrestling. That big blue building.
It's basically the Jersey Elks Lodge. That's what it is.
It's insanity. It's like when there's a weekend that I don't see a post that there's wrestling, I'm like, oh, either someone's getting married or the members are having one of their spaghetti fundraisers.
I will say this though. Hopefully, your next show on the one that we were talking about earlier on September 17th has a bottom rope. I'm just saying.
Oh my God,
has a bottom rope.
About a couple weeks ago, we were one of the sponsors for the Bree Combination event, the 5th year anniversary event in Richmond Park. There was no bottom rope.
Okay, did somebody forget it or something?
No. It broke beforehand, and nobody remembered to fix it prior to the show.
Wow, that had to be interesting.
Oh, it was definitely interesting to say the least.
It was interesting, but they were able to play it off, so I give them tons of credit on that.
Wow, so they didn't even move the middle rope down to the bottom. They just left the top. Wow.
Nope.
Okay. Wow.
Nope.
All right. I mean, diving into the ring was probably a lot easier, but
yeah.
And
also, Gavin, because you and I again have numerous interactions. I have my love for you, man.
I appreciate it. I always bump into you at random shows, and it always looks like everybody waves to me, and I look at them like shit, who's that? And I have that look on my face.
Like, numerous times.
Yeah. Well, it's most of the time it's because I don't have my glasses on, so I probably can't even see you anyway. And then, and second of all, when you talk to everybody on Facebook Messenger and stuff like that, you kind of forget like that there's a person that goes with that conversation, and and then when you see the person and you're like, oh yeah, that's Ryan Peterson. Oh shit. Oh man, you must think I'm an asshole.
Nah.
It happens all the time. People walk up to me and they're like, oh, bro, I loved your podcast, or, oh, I love your Facebook posts. And I'm just like, thanks. And they walk away, and my partner's like, who's that? I'm like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
So, I actually have one question. Maybe you can possibly reveal something, possibly where it will happen in February, if you're allowed to say it, or
I don't want to release that information yet, just in case the date doesn't happen. I mean, they have a building right now that they have in mind. They're just working on the dates in February, so I don't want to say the location and then we have to move it.
Let me clarify.
It will be in New Jersey, if that helps.
Well, I'll just say, is your main focus like gonna be like South Jersey, Central, North, like where are you looking to expand?
I think TCW's brand is really going to be based out of like the South Jersey Shore region.
Okay.
Nothing really too far south. I'm on the northern point of the Jersey Shore, so it's not far for me to get to, and I got to deal with all the bennies going down for traffic on Saturdays. So February is going to be great because all the bennies are going to be home freezing to death, and I don't have to worry about anything.
But guys, we're on right now with Kevin Nasta, owner of Damage 365, and as the news broke today, he is now going to be the head booker and head writer for Goddess of War, the women's division of Titan Championship Wrestling. Kevin, last question for me before we wrap up the interview and wrap up the show for tonight. If you had the opportunity, and it obviously would be somebody not somebody who's a free agent right now, who's not signed to a major company.
Okay.
Who would be one person that you would want to bring in?
Yeah, see, it's I mean, I got my eyes on a couple of people that unfortunately they're still under contract, but contractual wise, I would love to work with Jade Cargill. I would love to work again with Nikki Cross. She's awesome. As far as somebody that's a free agent now, it's hard, because the Northeast market gets overly saturated very quickly with the amount of conventions that go on from New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and even the New England area. And it's just hard to bring in somebody that is, a rare or first timer, because everybody's, hopping on that bandwagon. And I'm not somebody who chases, the free agents. If I could get a booking, I get the booking because I have a good reputation with them already. I'm not somebody that's going to go there and throw crazy money at people, because, the idea is to make money, and, to throw crazy money at people just to, pray you break even, to me is not a sound business decision. And, this is a legitimate business for me. I'm legal, bonded, and licensed by the U.S. government in the state of New Jersey. A lot of these guys aren't. So, I'm going to do it the right way. But I mean, I can't off the top of my, I mean, I would have loved to work with Tony Storm and pair her with Thunder Rosa now with the Thunderstorm idea, which was my idea, by the way. Fucking Tony Khan. But what a mark. But anyway, yeah, because when Thunder Rosa came in for the save, that was literally the first thing I posted. I was like, "Oh, Thunderstorm," and then like a week later, they posted it, Thunderstorm, with T-shirts and shit. And I'm like, you son of a bitch. I'm like, damn it, that could have been my damn T-shirt. But it's all good. But
Hey, Ryan, do you have any more questions?
Yeah, Ryan.
I do. I actually have. I have like a couple of them, but this one I'll ask first. You say you were working with like numerous promotions up and down, the Jersey Shore for a long time. Have you ever worked with ECPW? Just out of curiosity.
ECPW.
East Coast Professional Wrestling under Gino Caruso.
No, I have not, and no particular reason whatsoever. They don't really bring in talent, like outside talent. They're kind of a friends and family company. They bring in a lot of the same indie talent. Like my boy Dirtbag Dan, he's always there.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Anderson, I think, does a lot of shows for them. So they don't really bring in any, outside talent. So that's pretty much why I've never really worked with them, because I'm the one that they call to say, hey, can you give me so-and-so? Bring them in, I want to give them a match and, do gimmick and stuff like that. And then that usually turns into a weekend of festivities for me, where I usually bring them to multiple store signings, virtual signings, and then their wrestling gig. So, I've never worked with them, and I always get them confused with, was it ECWA?
Yep.
Yeah, I always get them confused. I've never worked with them either. The former owner, Mike Tartaglia, is look, all right, I'm not gonna say anything bad, but he's an asshole. But so I don't know their new crew, but I support a lot of the guys that were on there, like Mike Law, who started in Staten Island, and a couple of the other guys. So yeah, I if they ever came to me, needed a booking or needed someone for their show, I have no. My phone is always on. It's only off for like 2 companies. So.
Ooh, and I'm not going to ask about that. I'll tell you that because I know because I have a feeling I think I know what they are. So I think so. My final question is, which actually I think John's probably going to ask because I'm beating him to the punch. Where can the viewers, the fans find you? And do you have anything, any signings, appearances? You got anything coming up?
Yeah, I do actually. I do have a signing. I got August 20th, so that would be a week from this Saturday. We're going to be in Parsippany, New Jersey, The Asylum Wrestling Store is running a show called Wrestle Bash 2022, meaning 2022. It's not their 22nd show. Don't want anybody to confuse. We are bringing in current AEW stars Nyla Rose and Sonny Kiss. We are bringing in Impact star Tasha Steeles, former ECW star Jasmine St. Clair, former Goddesses champion Riley Shepard, and WWE Hall of Famer and world famous trainer Johnny Rods.
Ooh.
Well, Kevin, I'll say this right now. We'll actually see you there because we will also be there.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm still going to say walk up to me and introduce yourself because, I'm bad. I'm telling you. I'm going to bring my glasses, though, so I'll probably see you before you start waving.
I will say this. The Around the Ropes podcast have a table there, and they're bringing me in as a special guest signing.
Nice. So I can go take a photo op with Ryan Peterson.
I won't charge it. You're fine.
Dude, I mean, talk about crossing something off my bucket list.
Sure. But no, John, you got anything else, man?
No, I was just gonna say, obviously, you'll see the people who Kevin brought in. You'll see us there as well as we bring in this ring announcer right here. Ring announcer. I'm sorry, I had a slip of the tongue.
It's all right.
But Kevin, where can people find you on social media?
Very easy to find me. You can start off with our website, d365promotions.com. You can find all our social media links. We're on Twitter at Damage365 Radio. We're on Instagram at D365_promotions. We're on Facebook at Damage365. We have an all links page where you can find everything. But I would say the main thing, hit up our website. You can find all our social media there. Those who follow me already on Facebook on my personal page, know I'm very active, especially in the mid hours in the middle of the night and in the early morning, because that's when the creatures come out, and that's me. My mother always used to call me a rodent when I was younger. I scurried around at night and I would sleep during the day. Some things don't change.
Also have a few things that we're going to plug before we wrap up the show for tonight. Like I said, you'll catch Kevin at WrestleBash. You'll also catch us there as well. Like I said before, we're bringing in Mr. Ryan Peterson over here as our special guest signee. So definitely check that all out. Check the entire event out. It's gonna be a fun day. I just want to also plug the fact that I actually just got booked for a first interview through the show with a guy by the name of Chris Carpenter. He hosts a wrestling show called Wrestle with a Bear.
Okay.
I will be on their show this Friday, starting at 6 p.m. So definitely check that out as well. We'll post that on our link as well. So I'm kind of honored about that. But Kevin, Brian, Kevin, thank you for joining us tonight. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you. Let me just throw one more thing in there. Everybody check out Titan Championship Wrestling on Facebook. Everything will be updated on there as things happen. I want to make sure, obviously, doing what I'm doing now, I want to make sure that the main roster as well as the goddesses get their due. So check out Titan Championship Wrestling. They're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, but I don't really think they do much on Twitter.
Kevin, thank you so much for hopping on tonight. Like I said, you have an open door. If you ever want to come back on the show, if you ever want to bring any of the talent on from Goddess of War, we'll definitely love to have them on to promote any upcoming.
I appreciate it, guys, and I'll see you a week from this Saturday.
Yes, you definitely see us there.
All right, take care. Peace, guys.
Take care. Guys, that was Kevin Nasta joining us. Phenomenal interview. Great guy. And by the way, we found out he will be at WrestleBash.
With the whole slew of people. Wow.
Yeah. But Ryan, any final thoughts, and where can people find you on social media?
So, final thoughts. You can find. Well, I have a few appearances coming. I have a few updated appearances coming up. But let me get the social media part out of the way. You can find me at Instagram at WrestlingMC. You can find me on Twitter at Ryan_MC92. This Friday, you'll see me in Newark, New Jersey for WrestlePro as we present a free show featuring Maven. Yes, I said Maven. Also on the 20th next week, not only will you see myself along with the Around the Ropes podcast at WrestleBash and doing a signing, but later on that night in Richfield Park, New Jersey, how freaking ironic, Colossal Championship Wrestling makes their debut with, I believe, doors at 6 and bell time at 6:30. I'm not entirely sure. It's Saturday night. That's Saturday night.
And we may know the person who's on the front of the poster.
Oh yeah, I think you may know the person on the poster. And then on the 28th of August, you'll find me back at Richfield Park. At this point, I should just rent a freaking apartment near there for Invictus Pro Wrestling as they present Let Them Fight Summer Wars, a massive card / student another showcase match where some of the best up and coming talent in wrestling come on and and show their stuff. We got the Takeover on there. We got Fight or Die. We got the Even Stevens, the Stepdads. I have the poster in front of me. That's why I'm going crazy right now. We also have Jasmine Allure, Dennis Morgan, TK Elchenko, Jack Tomlinson, a whole slew of, and then one of the main events for the Invictus Tag Team Championships. You have the current social media champion Mucho Chris Mojo and his partner Big Trouble Ben Bishop, aka Mucho Trouble, taking on the team of the current tag team champions Randy Summers and Brandon Watts, aka Milk Chocolate, all taking place August 28th in Richfield Park, New Jersey. And if you can't make it to the event because you're in another state or whatnot, it will be streamed on IWTV. And also, sorry to jump on it, speaking of Invictus Pro Wrestling, this was just announced earlier today. The following event, which is their anniversary show, also taking place in Richfield Park on September 25th, Sunday afternoon. Making his debut that afternoon is someone who's pretty much making a name for himself once again in the wrestling scene. Hasn't been featured in North America in a long time due to some BS visa issues. I'm talking about the one and only Speedball Mike Bailey.
Nice.
And this one is a personal one for me because I've always wanted to work with Mike Bailey because I'm a major fan of his. And also, this is usually how it is, but if Mike Bailey is on the show, then you know who else is going to be on the show as well.
Clue me in.
Oh, okay. His wife, Beta Scott, which I'm very happy about because I love Beta.
Yeah. She is good. I'll definitely say that much. Wow, you're gonna be a busy boy the next couple of weeks.
And then September 17th, I'm in Melville with Creative Pro Wrestling, so definitely check that out too.
Yes, and I may take the trek out there that night.
You better.
Oh, I will. Get to see our sexy, beefy boy there do what he does great at.
Or as the fans call me, a Creative Pro Sexy Ryan.
I wasn't going to go there, but you can go there all you want.
It's true. That's what they call me. I don't know why, but they call me that.
Yeah, I bet it's true.
And also, wow, I am so sorry. September 9th, I'm in Rahway, New Jersey with WrestlePro. How can I forget about that show? Because on that night, making an appearance, not wrestling, but he's making an appearance. How about WWE Hall of Famer and Olympic gold medalist, the only person to win an Olympic gold medal with a broken freaking neck himself, Kurt Angle.
Interesting. So
And also that night, there will be history in the making because WrestlePro will be presenting the. They are doing a women's championship tournament, and the first round matches will be taking place that night. From what I see, I believe the matches are Queen Aminata versus Harley Cameron, and Brandy Lauren versus Lady Frost.
So maybe it's going to be a very cold night for Brandy Lauren. But that was a bad joke. But moving on. Again,
as long as she brings air conditioning in that building, that's fine with me.
And hopefully she brings a bottom rope.
Oh, and also, first time ever match up, I forgot to mention this also. I'm in a plugging mood right now, so.
I know.
Hey, listen, I'd rather plug than, take a step back.
Moving on. What else do you have coming up?
I forgot to mention on that show, first time ever matchup, we have Brian Myers versus the Bayonne Badass Danny Moff.
Oof.
Yep. Talk about beefy boy right there.
So realistically, between you doing the ring announcement and what we have coming up for this show, you're going to be quite a little busy. And I'm saying you, I'm also going to be quite busy as well the next couple of months.
Yeah. I'm back. The summer's been kind of slow with the announcing because everyone decides to run on the same date. But luckily on my end, knock on wood, everything's been running on opposite dates, and I actually have some fall dates coming up.
Yeah, and obviously, folks, we'll keep you guys up to date as far as stuff we have coming up because we have a lot of interesting things coming up. Stuff that we're not allowed to even mention yet because we don't even know all the details yet. But, folks, you can find me on social media. I'm at John_Blaine. Final thoughts for me. The show was good tonight, despite everything that we had coming into it. Being real right now. Other than that, we will not be on this Saturday. You will see us again next Tuesday with myself and Mr. Peterson himself. Because as you mentioned on top of the show, we'll just reiterate it quickly if anybody just joined the show now. There were some comments made over the weekend by a former co-host of the show, and due to that, and until we do a complete and full investigation on everything, that's why for the foreseeable future, you're just going to see myself and Ryan on the screen for the next, like I said, for the foreseeable future. But guys, again, appreciate you guys watching us. Go hit that subscribe button on YouTube. It costs you guys nothing. Does wonders for us. On Facebook, go find us. We're at Around the Ropes Show on Facebook. Go find us on Facebook. We're on our network. It's ATR Network. Definitely go there. We post stuff about the show. We post stuff about what's going on. Like we do a thing called This Day in Pro Wrestling History. So definitely check that out. And guys, if you see us at a show, definitely come over, say hi to us. We do not bite. And we will sign autographs as long as they're on paper. And yeah, but on that note, guys, for Ryan, I'm John. This has been another installment of the Around the Ropes podcast on the ATR Network. We will catch you guys next time.